So as I've mentioned in other videos, I've recently made the switch to really right stuff ball heads. And one of the questions I had when I was switching was, is a BH-55 what I need, or do I need that giant ball head, or do I need the BH-40? So we're gonna kind of talk about the comparisons between the two ball heads in this video. So a little disclaimer here, these ball heads are not cheap. Anything really right stuff is not cheap. It's really a premium product. It's one of those products that like you aspire to own someday. It's kind of like Gitzo or Hasselblad or one of those kind of big names. And there's a reason for it. They're made really, really well. They're really high quality. They're made in the USA. So since I started buying really right stuff, I started with the tripod and then got a L bracket, and I've kind of turned into a little bit of a fanboy. And the reason for that is their stuff is just so good. The quality of really right stuff made things are really good. I guess that's why it's called really right stuff. But anyways, I'm really happy with the product, and once you start using it, you tend to just kind of keep using it and buying the next thing. Let's talk about the ball heads. They come in these nifty little cases, almost like a lens coat case. I probably won't ever use this again, but how cool is that these come with it? So this is the BH-55. This thing is a tank of a ball head. It's fairly short, fairly squat, but it is beefy. And when you hold it in your hand, it's heavy. It adds some weight to your tripod. And that was the very thing that kind of made me hesitant to pick this particular one up. The weight rating on this particular ball head is this, which is quite a lot, and I think that that's even conservative after using this ball head. It's got a really large main tightening knob, which makes it just really smooth and easy to use. On the opposite side, it's got the tension knob. The shape of the tension knob allows you to get as much leverage as you could possibly need on it. It's another one of those just little details that they are really smart about. When they have a smaller knob, they make it a lever type knob, so you're able to get as much leverage as you need. Of course, you've got your pan knob on the bottom. Loosen it, and then you can pan the ball head. So this lever clamp on top here has no adjustment of any kind, and it has no locking mechanism to keep it in its locked position. This is one of the things that actually steered me towards Acrotech, because it had a locking mechanism that would keep it shut. That was the very piece that failed on me on the Acrotech. This lever clamp system, there's nothing really to go wrong. It's just a little spring-loaded clamp. Now that I've been using it, I realize that there's no possible way you could unlatch your camera from here. Even if you were able to hook a finger underneath this lever clamp here accidentally, it's only going to come halfway. And even in this position, it's not open enough for your camera to fall out. It'll slide side to side, but it won't fall out. It has to go the rest of the way, which is not going to happen unless you force it the rest of the way. But I think this particular lever clamp is going to have more longevity than the Acrotech style. So this is the BH-55. Let's take a look at the BH-40. The reason I initially went with the BH-55 is because I use Canon, I use a lot of larger lenses, and I was not confident that this smaller ball head would do the trick. So I went with the BH-55. This is the BH-40. This is the next size down, and as you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than the BH-55. It's quite a bit lighter too, and that's one of my favorite aspects of this, is quite a bit lighter. You save a lot of weight. So the main tightening knob, rather than having a big round knob, it's got this lever type knob that allows you to get plenty of leverage on it. But if you notice, there are times when it hits this top clamp. And as a workaround, they've made this ratcheting. So if you get to that point and you need to be able to turn your knob, you pull it out, you turn it, and then you put it back into place. So it's really smart how they've made that a ratcheting knob. On the side, they have this, this is your tension knob, this is round, and then for your main pan knob, they've added this kind of grooved kind of thing to where you can get a lot more leverage on it than you could if it was just perfectly round. This ball head I have found to be very sturdy, very stable, and probably all that the average DSLR user needs. I think that this probably in most situations would be all the ball head I need, although it is not as nice to use as the BH-55. The BH-55 is like a Cadillac, and this is kind of like the BMW? I don't know. No, I guess it would be like the Honda Civic. This is a Cadillac where it's just really nice, but it's big and it's bulky. And this is just it's a little bit more work to use because occasionally you have to do the ratcheting, but in most situations it's going to be plenty, and it's a whole lot lighter, and it keeps your tripod a whole lot lighter. So size-wise, if we were to compare this to the Acratech GP ball head, now granted the GP ball head is not Acratech's smallest ball head, but if we hold them next to each other, you can see how much taller the GP is. It feels very similar. I would have to look at the numbers to tell them apart. The Really Ride stuff feels just a tiny bit heavier because it's more dense, and this one, the weight's kind of spread out, but I would guess that they're very, very close. But with the Acratech, a couple of the things that I've noticed that I didn't really love was that, first of all, the pan knob is so small that it's really difficult to get enough leverage on in some situations. There was times when I would put it on my tripod and I couldn't get enough leverage or, crank down on it enough to actually unscrew it from my tripod. It would pan before it would unscrew, and that was less than ideal. And I always found myself having to kind of crank down on the tension knob more than I felt was really necessary. Even when I had the tension knob fairly tight, when I'd crank down on this, I could still kind of grab it, and it never really sagged in practical use, but I just felt like I always had to kind of reef down on it a little bit more than I wanted. Since switching to Really Ride stuff ball heads, I've been incredibly happy, and I think that in most situations, the BH-40 is going to be big enough for most users. Especially if you're a mirrorless user, you would never need anything larger than this BH-40. The BH-55 is really nice when using large lenses like this. And just as a for fun comparison, I think what I'm gonna do is we'll throw my 150 to 600 on my other camera here, and we'll kind of do a shake test. We'll put it on the BH-55 first. I'll tap on the front element, or the front hood, and then I'll put it on the BH-40, and then I'll tap on the front hood, and we'll compare that shake level. And then for fun, we'll put it on the Acratech GP ball head, and I'll tap on the front lens hood. And now I also have this old Enduro BHD2, affordable ball head. It's never had an issue with it at all. It's fairly light for its size. And we'll go ahead and do that same test where I put it on the 150 to 600 and I'll tap on that front lens hood. Okay, so that's pretty much the comparison. If you're somebody that very seldom goes on long hikes, or you're shooting out of the car often, or you just have a big tripod setup and a small tripod setup, this BH-55 is going to be the one for you. It is the Cadillac of ball heads. But if you're somebody that's doing a lot of hiking, you want to keep your tripod fairly light, and maybe you're not shooting with those big long lenses like some people are, the BH-40 is going to be more than enough. I personally love this top lever clamp, and I much prefer these over the twist knob style. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully this has been interesting to a few of you. I know that not everybody is in the market for an expensive ball head like this. They're not cheap, but they're worth it. And it will likely be the last ball head you buy, at least for a long time. All right, thanks so much. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.